Okay, so I wanted to make a bit of a different video, not in the, I don't know if it's in the total opposite end of this holy project login I had going on, but I still work on this in the background and I will do more videos on it, but I just thought I would sit down. I don't have much time tomorrow either and day after that. So I'd just like to get a video film that I hadn't really, I don't know, if I hadn't progressed in the same sense, I would have believed I, or liked to, in Project Holy Login. But yeah, I don't know if there's much to update about there, so I thought I'd kind of give my insights on something I just came up with. I could have posted this on Twitter, but I feel like I wrote a few pages and I have this rule when I make videos that if it's totally off the dome, then I post it on Twitter because it's usually more raw thoughts and YouTube is more expansive on my side at least. So, but I chose to write a little script, so to say. But yeah, it's kind of different and it's more of a thought process. So I thought about the idea of living with intent versus living without it. So I would say, first of all, that you should go about life with intent, and I think that's how life should be, beyond things such as, or deeper things such as understanding who God is, if God even is, anything really this crazy, massively, and gigantic question of ours that we hold, all these grand ideas that we debate, whether we hold moral worth, anything like that. Like these things, very important, of course, to discover and kind of dwell upon. But what I wanted to say about intention were that these things are spiked or sparked by the act of living with intent, the act of having intention in your life. Because if you just remain intentional in what you're doing, you somehow pursue whatever you may pursue, but you at least remain not stale, you at least pursue something other than nothing. And the result, or rather maybe outcomes, um, that you would have otherwise had you not pursued a life of intent, and lived true to the intention you hold, then yeah, that life would just have been nothing. Maybe it's just been stale as mediocrity. Basically just suffering. So we got this idea that when you live with intent behind your action, behind your pursuit of things, behind your understanding, you first of all got this reason to live, almost you could say, and maybe secondly from that, as stated in the beginning, you have the not the it's not it has not become an option, but a certain outcome of you achieving something else than normal. Because majority or the mass, I would say at least, from my perspective on life, just go about life flowing through, going about it in a very undecided manner, which is kind of this opposite of living with intent. So you might, if you live with intent and pursue things seriously, you might become a author, you might become a monk, you might become a firefighter, a what else did I write? Bodybuilder, a construction worker, anything that may fulfill that intention, you would say. You may also become a crackhead or a murderer, anything that societally seems bad. Whether it is or not, I would probably say yes, it is. But at least you're not kind of stuck and struck also with this hammer and killing machine of mediocrity. This fucking pounding and shot with an arrow and bullet of failure. Because yeah, what is life you if you go not beyond anything? Like, I heard this quote somewhere, but I know not really where from or who from, but it sounds like this, goes this: I would rather not be living than living stale. And that may seem kind of dishonest because life is a great gift, but I don't know if it was honest or not. What I care about really is that I somehow resonated with this because, as said, life is valuable in the sense that many views it a gift. It is a gift. I myself view it as a gift. But I just thought about it in a way that, would I rather just have, if I had the choice, would I rather have potential life, or would I have a completely stale life of no relevance, no significance, nothing beyond, nothing extraordinary? Maybe that's the competitive nature of me speaking, I don't know, and I don't care, and maybe that is, I don't know. And it may be wrong of me to think of this in this way because I see life as a gift, but in the same way, if I lived a life of such where I was born, I did the complete average thing of everything, and I grew old, I died, and then I came to look at my life in its completeness, wouldn't I would like to believe I would then say to God that He should have given that life to another person. And maybe that's dishonest, maybe that's true. I don't stand in this physical or actual situation, so I can't really determine based on mere theoretical thinking. But luckily enough for me, at least, luckily enough for you too, is that we live in a world where it's not certain that we either don't live or don't achieve or achieve. But one thing is certain is that we choose whether we go about our life with intent, and thereby we also choose if we achieve anything of significance. And so that's basically the thought I have, that luckily enough, we live in a life where we have a choice between living with intent and living without it. And as you've probably figured out, I try to so heavily preach that you should try to live with intent. You can hear it in how I speak in my examples. I would really like for more people to live with intent, because it makes life worth living. At least for me, I believe that's the case. So whether you pursue philosophy, any craft, mathematics, morality, anything that sounds interesting to you, whether you choose these or other things, just choosing is what makes life actually worth a life ticket, if you know what I mean. So live with intent or don't. You choose. I strongly recommend living with intent. And that was all for the video. Hope you liked it, and kind of different, so I'll see you in the next one. Don't know really when. Bye.